Meeting to order. My name is Eileen Duff. I am the counselor presiding, and I will begin with reading the governor's nomination letter. Dear counselors, I'm pleased to nominate Rachel Hickey to the position of Clerk Magistrate of the Ipswich District Court. I submit this nomination for the advice and consent of the Executive Council, pursuant to Part 2, Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I'm enclosing the nominee's resume for your convenience. Sincerely, Charles D. Baker. What we'll do is we will call your witnesses, and then we'll have anyone in opposition speak, and then we will have you speak. So we'll call your first witness, Michelle Gaeta. Did I say your name correctly?
Yes.
Thank you. Have a seat if you'd like, officer. Chief Court Officer of the Haverhill, Newburyport, Ipswich District Court, and Newburyport Superior Court.
Just so we're clear, she's the only one I actually care about in the court system. She's the one that can actually help you.
Thank you.
That's why you're here, because you're very powerful.
Good morning, distinguished members of the council. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of Rachel Hickey. It is with overwhelming pride and without reservation that I ask for your consideration on behalf of Rachel Hickey. My name is Michelle Gaeta. I am the Chief Court Officer in the Newburyport Ipswich Haverhill Complex. I am always impressed with how Rachel handles herself with the public, as well as the employees of the house. Rachel is often faced with handling difficult situations. Rachel treats people with dignity and respect, regardless of their station. Rachel is committed and consistent. She has a positive personality and a great sense of humor. Rachel's a team player. She is always willing to lend a helping hand. Rachel has become the point person for the courthouse. It's not out of the realm for different departments within the courthouse to seek advice from Rachel. And when I say in the courthouse, people from outside who come in also ask Rachel for advice, whether attorneys, police. She is the point person. Perhaps the most intimate thing I learned about Rachel is the extent to which she is dedicated to her family. There was never a phone call from a family member that she did not return immediately. Rachel's time away from the courthouse was spent at home or volunteering her time at the Immaculate Conception School, also known as the IC, where her two sons attended kindergarten and 8th grade. I strongly urge the council to confirm Rachel's nomination. Upon acquaintance, of which I shall remain hopeful, you will be rewarded with a lifetime friendship and loyalty, which can only really be entertained. I thank you for your time and your kind consideration.
Thank you very much, officer. Questions, Counsel Kennedy?
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And everybody working with you are doing a great job. The court office, I say this often, the court office are the young son heroes of the court system.
True.
Together, and I want to say that publicly.
Thank you very much, Counsel.
Counsel Devaney?
Thank you for your testimony. It's a lot. How long have you known them?
For 20 years, 20 plus years.
So, how do you work with her on a day-to-day basis?
So I am in a complex. I am not always in Newburyport 100% of the time, but when I'm there, I always go to her office, find out what's on the schedule for the day, which she knows what judges are sitting in the first session, what judges going to be doing jury trials. She fills me in on what to expect. If there's anything she needs from me.
What was her career background? Did you say?
I think, like I said, that she is like the point person. She's a very, very learned clerk. She runs the first session, which is a very difficult job. She does it very well, and she gets the job done.
Thank you very much. Your testimony means a lot to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. You may step away. Is there anyone else to testify in favor? Anyone here to testify against? Hearing none, it will be your turn now to make your statement, but before you do, would you like to introduce anyone here that you've brought with you?
Yes, first I would just like to say good morning to the council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I'm truly humbled and honored at this nomination. I would like to start by first introducing my family here today. My family, my mom, Terry, my sister, Martha, my older son, Jack, who is a recent graduate of Stonehill College, and my younger son, Nick, who is a recent graduate of Bishop Fenwick High School and just completed his first semester at Quinnipiac University in Connecticut. I'd also like to say there's also someone with us today, my beloved husband, also the dad of Jack and Nick, who passed away in April of 2020. And I can tell you that without Jimmy's inspiration, admiration, and support and love throughout these years, I would not be sitting here today. He's truly the inspiration of me pursuing a legal career, and he's in our hearts and with us in spirit here today. I'd also like to start out by thanking the council for the opportunity to be here today. I'd like to thank the Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito for this nomination. I'm humbled and grateful for this nomination that brings me here today. I'd also like to thank a number of people, Attorney Emily Gauthier, Attorney Lauren Green, Attorney Bob Ross, also members of the Judicial Nominating Committee, and all of my supporters who have helped me along this road. It's been a very long road, and I appreciate the opportunity to finally get to this point, and I'm humbled by that opportunity. I'd like to first start out by letting you know that I started my career in the District Attorney's Office in 1989. I was hired in District Attorney Kevin Burke's office. I was very fortunate to be hired by the Director of Victor Witness, Eileen McCann. Both of them gave me a very special opportunity. Their trust in me would later spark an interest in a legal career. It was in 1989 that I also met my husband in the District Attorney's office, who was also a victim witness advocate. He was going to law school at night and inspired me to do the same. In 1994, I became an assistant district attorney after having been a victim witness advocate for approximately 5 years. I spent 13 years in the district attorney's office, about 7 years as an assistant district attorney before moving on to the Executive Office of Public Safety under Secretary James P. DeJuga. I was his deputy general counsel and also the acting general counsel of the medical examiner's office in his office. Upon the conclusion of his administration, I then went to work with my husband in his general practice. We worked together. My main focus in his office was civil litigation, which was something that I had never experienced before, so I was able to get a more balanced legal career in pursuing civil litigation. After spending some time in my husband's office, I was appointed an assistant clerk magistrate by the Honorable Catherine Morris Early, who was the clerk magistrate of the Ipswich and Newburyport District Court. Approximately 2 years as an assistant clerk magistrate, I was on the road as a traveling clerk magistrate. I spent time sitting in Lynn, Salem, and Peabody, as well as Lowell, before landing back into Newburyport. I've been an assistant clerk magistrate for approximately 17 years. Chief Justice Paul Dawley appointed me the acting clerk magistrate in the Newburyport District Court, as well as the Lynn District Court, and most recently in the Somerville District Court, where I concluded my tenure there at approximately December 1st. I went back to Newburyport when that slot was filled in Somerville. Chief Justice Paul Dawley has full faith and confidence in my abilities to do this job, as evidenced by him appointing me as an acting clerk magistrate in those 3 separate courts. And based on that, my almost 30 years experience in the district court, my 17 years experience as an assistant clerk magistrate, I feel that I have the qualities necessary to become an effective clerk magistrate and to continue to serve the public. That's why I'm asking you today for your vote and your assent to this nomination. And I would also like to extend my gratitude to Councilor Duff for your determination. And lastly, Councilor Kennedy, for your advice, your wisdom, and your support throughout this journey. And I appreciate the opportunity to come here today to speak.
Thank you, Attorney. We'll start with Council Kennedy.
I don't have any questions for you. Acting as sitting here, you have, Council Devaney often points out how people get bypassed who are very, very qualified, and you certainly fit into that category. And you finally get your turn. I know that your children should be very, very proud of you. I know Jimmy is looking down and he's very proud of you. And it's a big deal for your mother to get this job. You know, there's something like 460 judges in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There's 200,000, 300,000 lawyers. So to become a judge is a big deal. Becoming a clerk magistrate is an even bigger deal because there's only 58 of them. So it's a pretty rigorous process to get there, and very, very few people make it. You should be very, very proud of your mother for getting to this point. I'm just going to point out that Councilor Duff was a dog with a bone trying to make this happen, you know? And she did a great job. She's a big fan of yours. You already know I am, so I don't have to say any more.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to voting for you hopefully this afternoon.
Thank you, Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you. Councilor DiPaolo.
Thank you, Counselor. I don't have any questions either. The people who work with you in your current role says all that needs to be said. And Counselor Duff, I've heard about you since I got elected to council. So congratulations, and it sounds like this is perhaps an overdue appointment.
Thank you, Councilor DePaul.
I don't see Council Hurley online, but I do see Council Fiera. Council Fiera, do you have questions for the candidate?
Thank you very much. I am stuck in traffic, but on my way. I do not have any questions.
Joe, we can't hear you, but that's good. We're happy with that. Hold on a minute.
I do want to say that, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't trust anything Councilor Kennedy says these days. He's had COVID. But I do want to say that Councilor Duff, of course, has been a huge fan. The Costellos have been a huge fan, and Councilor Kennedy as well. You and I had a chat, and I'm happy to vote for you next week. I'm sure you're going to do a great job. Thank you.
Today, Joe, I think we're going to vote today.
Vote today.
All right, I'll vote for today then.
So hurry up and get here.
All right,
Council
thank you.
Jubin?
Thank you,
Council Jubinville?
Yes, thank you.
Questions?
Thank you. When did the Ipswich court close, if you know?
I know that.
Close, it merged into the,
It's got to be.
was it after the report was filled?
Oh, it was after new report was built. Actually, Michelle Gator, thank you very much for your speech. I am honored to be present with that. I appreciate the time that you spent on that. Michelle Gator was actually a court officer during that period of time. I started in Newburyport in 2006 as an assistant clerk magistrate, and well before that as an assistant district attorney, and Ipswich District Court was not there. I believe their lease was up in Ipswich in maybe 2008, maybe, or 2000, around there. And it was at that time that clerk magistrate early relinquished her role as the clerk magistrate in Ipswich. She was appointed the permanent clerk magistrate in Newburyport and the acting clerk magistrate for Ipswich at that time.
Well, I had the pleasure of appearing in that court in 72. It was a nice little court, had a nice structure in the front. It was a nice little court. But it didn't do a lot of business, I guess, over the years, so. Your home counselor's been a big fan, Terry Kennedy, following on you too, way back. You have more experience as a clerk than anybody sitting in this room. I think it's a great fit for you, and I think you're going to have a wonderful career up there. I'm voting for you later today.
Council Jubinville.
Thank you, Council Jubinville. Council Devaney?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see
And
you.
without a, you You did it perfectly.
Thank you very much.
Um, Let me first say, to my condolences on the loss of your husband. I've walked in your shoes 22 years ago. Yeah. So, it's here with you.
There is.
Um, First of all, you should have been a judge. There's no question in my mind, but this is the way the system works up here. I'm praying it will change in another month. Um, You've done it all. You not only, I love the age, I love the life experience that you bring, okay? We recently had a 40-year-old who applied for clerk magistrate 2 years ago and was refused. He wasn't qualified. But miraculous, now he's a judge. Isn't that amazing? Made him a judge. So in Worcester Court, and he was one of 13 assistant solicitors in City Hall, imagine. And he worked for the sheriff. So that's what we've got, some of the judges that have come through. You deserve it, and I'm hoping, and I'm hoping that you will apply. You have all the qualifications. I've been here 23 years, I've seen it, and I've seen a lot of people who shouldn't be sitting in that position. But tell us about all you have been, you know, a supervising assistant district attorney, you've been a victim. Tell us all about how these different positions and how that makes you so much qualified for clerk magistrate. You have more experience than what I've seen, really, the judge. So, okay, let's talk about clerk magistrate then.
Well, it's funny, I never, as a young person graduating college, I never, it was never my goal to be an attorney. Wasn't something that I ever woke up from being one and said, oh, I'm going to be an attorney someday. It was my progression through the legal system that evolved my attitudes and my goals. And I was very fortunate to get my first break by District Attorney Kevin Burke and Eileen McCann, the Director of Victim Witness. And it was them who gave me my first break and their trust in me. And that opened the door for my interest in the law. And when I worked in the District Attorney's office, and like I said, I met my husband and I saw what he was doing, that sparked my interest. And it was through his inspiration that I then started law school. I then wanted to be an assistant district attorney. And in 1994, I was able to transition my role from a victim witness advocate to an assistant district attorney. District Attorney Kevin Burke put me right on as an assistant district attorney, and I remained there and loved working in the district court. I loved being in the people's court. I loved working with people firsthand. I had an opportunity to go to Superior Court, and I chose to remain in district court because that's where I like to be. I like working the front lines. I like the pace. I love working hand in hand with all of the court personnel. So I was able to experience that in the district court, and I was able to learn from great judges before me, great assistant clerks before me, great clerk magistrates before me. And it was all of those people, and also great attorneys and court personnel. And it was those people that inspired me to go on further. So I was very fortunate to be able to pursue my appointment as an assistant clerk magistrate, and very lucky and blessed to get it by Catherine Morris early back in 2006. And then I was able to further evolve as a clerk on the road. I wasn't just sitting in Newburyport District Court. I was one of the first traveling clerks. They didn't need me so much in Newburyport District Court, so they decided to put me on the road. And again, I loved that opportunity to be able to go to different courts. There are no two courts that are the same. It's very difficult to put one set of rules in place for every district court because there's different demographics, different people, different types of populations. And you need to be able to go and switch gears depending on which court you're sitting in. So I was able to experience all those different communities in Peabody and Lynn, Lowell. And then I was able to bring back what I learned on the road to Newburyport, and we were able to make some changes in Newburyport that were all very positive changes for that court because of my experience on the road. And quite frankly, you know, things happen for a reason. You know, my application for a judgeship didn't work out, but quite frankly, I love the situations and the challenges that come to our office every day at the clerk's office counter. And I was telling Attorney Jubenville this story where one day a very distressed farmer came in and his cows were dying of thirst. We were in the middle of a heat wave during the hot summer months in Newburyport, and the landowner had shut off the water. And he came in distress and wanted our help, and nobody knew what to do. It wasn't really the type of thing that we dealt with, and I just knew, being an animal lover myself, that there was no way that this farmer was going to leave the courthouse without getting in front of a judge. And tried to figure out, put on our thinking caps, and I said, well, let's have him fill out a temporary restraining order. Temporary restraining order is traditionally used for eviction cases. It's not really the type of situation that you would fill out a temporary restraining order for. It's almost like fitting a round peg into a square hole, but it gave us an opportunity to get the situation in front of a judge. And thank goodness Judge Doyle agreed. And by that afternoon, with a police escort, the cows were drinking water, and they were, everyone was happy. So not the type of situation that you can ever predict, but those are the types of situations that come to us every day.
Oh, see, that's what I see in you, compassion, because I won't vote for anyone who doesn't have compassion, and you definitely have it. And even in your own private life, you're involved with Sweet Paws Rescue.
I am.
Isn't that wonderful?
It is.
Thank you. Thank you. My granddaughter just adopted a year-old German Shepherd that they were going to kill.
Oh, it's a great program.
But enough.
Wonderful program.
The problem is this council has voted a rule, and I'm timed, so you used up our time. So I think it's unfortunate, because there's so much I think the public should hear about you. You've had administrative background, management, victim witness. You have worked it all, and you have the age, 56, am I right?
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's wonderful. I think that's what we need. And your pro bono work, you don't see that in a 40-year-old. You don't see that. And you're a mother. You understand when people come before you. People are going through difficult times, trying to put food on the table. But I just want to make it clear that so people know out there, you and this administration have applied for a judgeship in Chelsea 2016, Woburn 2016. No, you didn't even get an interview, which is outrageous. And in Newburyport, thank God, you did get an interview, but you got a no from the governor. So now you're here, and that's the important thing. And so this is just one more step, because I'm going to be looking and hoping that I see your name come before me in the coming year. But I have to say that when you get a recommendation from Judge Dolly, you've got to be pretty special.
Thank you.
No, really. Now, the other thing is that we have got letters for you, and Kevin Finnegan wrote a beautiful letter about you and how you're extremely well qualified, and that you have been called on many times in various jurisdictions for your advice, and I know that I'm tired, I can't read it. And so then we got another letter from Peter Doyle, who is Judge Doyle, First District, Ipswich. And he talks about you, that he's known you since 1997, when you were an ADA in the Newbury District Court. And one of the cases you tried against each other went all the way to the SIC Commonwealth versus Twombly. Every dealing that I had with her as a lawyer was professional and courteous. I have been the first justice in Newburyport and Ipswich since 2003, proud to vote for him, and welcomed her as an assistant clerk magistrate in 2006. I work closely with her on a daily basis since. She is knowledgeable, engaging, hardworking, practical, all essential qualities for a clerk magistrate, whether she's handling a busy first section of a jury court. She is competent, poised, she knows how to move cases, whether criminal, civil. She is quite efficient in resolving civil matters. Her background as an EDA is invaluable, given some of the complex search warrant she reviews. She is a devoted mother of two wonderful boys and a member of this court's community. She takes pride in how the court is run and proceed within the cities and towns which it serves. She is familiar with all the local police departments and the many agencies which assist the court. That familiarity will serve her as well as if she was confirmed. Because of her stellar reputation and work ethic, Chief Justice Paul Dolly appointed her as the acting clerk magistrate of Newburyport and Ipswich in July of 2019, until a permanent clerk was appointed months later. The transition was seamless. She has managed the staff well, and even though we are now down one clerk, the clerk's office and the Newbury District Court have not skipped a beat, despite the tragic loss of her 56-year-old husband to a heart attack in April of 2020. She has persevered and was appointed as acting clerk in both Lynn and Somerville until permanent clerks were named. As a judge who has been assigned, and you were one of them, as a judge who has been assigned to many different courts, I can honestly say without reservation that there is not a better assistant clerk magistrate in the system. Attorney Hickey is respected by the bar, by staff, all hopeful that she becomes the clerk magistrate. As the presiding justice of this court, I feel that same point. There is no job in Attorney Hickey. I could not possibly make a higher recommendation for a person in this position. The governor appoints Attorney Hickey as our clerk magistrate is an appointment that he will always look upon with pride. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate. I didn't read all the other one, but it's just everyone knows that, you know, should be a judge. But, you know, I wish I had time to ask you about, you've been involved in a lot of, you know, really heavy cases.
Your time is just about up, Counselor.
Isn't that awful? We're the only sitting body in the United States of America that times its members.
Councilor Devaney.
Actually, that's not true. The Senate Judiciary Committee is timed. But anyway, thank you, Counselor. Attorney Hickey, she stepped on some of what the chair does, is introducing those letters, but we have letters of support for you. I also had calls from Secretary DeJuga, who just couldn't stop raving about you. I've never met you before today, actually, but your work, you know, as folks know, I do pop into my courts now and then, and I actually testified in a hearing up in Newburyport a few years ago. It's a beautifully run court. You should all be very proud of the work that you do there. Your reputation just is fantastic. Your time has come. You deserve this job. And with that, I adjourn this hearing.